Welcome back to Rattlesnake TV, guys. So Cenk Uygur is trying to rebrand himself as some sort of a moderate, some sort of a bridge builder, peacekeeper, and we are not going to be having it. We are not going to be buying it for 1 single second. Now, it is interesting to see because the left are in a total state of chaos at the moment.
Shameful. Are you the one that walks by here and always screaming at people?
No, I haven't walked by recently.
Okay, because a lot of people walk by and scream.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. You are voting for the devil. Don't you know that?
No.
Why are you voting for him?
Because I believe he is the moral candidate.
Oh, my God. F you for that one.
That's
moral?
Exactly that's how your side acts.
Oh, my God.
That's
He's
how
the
you
most
guys...
immoral person around.
In your opinion, that's
Oh,
okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Have a nice day. Have a nice day.
They're totally fractured. They are in shambles. And the reason why is quite simple. And that's because they don't have a coherent worldview that they can all get around. When you think about it, they actually don't really have anything that fundamentally binds them together. So it's not really something that people are going to buy into over any sort of sustained period of time. You see, progressivism is inherently about the current thing, and you will never be progressive enough if you don't support whatever is trending. There is no wisdom or real grounding philosophies and principles with progressivism. They are completely malleable depending on what is trendy. But conservatives and traditionalists want to conserve and we want to uphold traditions. And what is tradition? Well, tradition is whatever beliefs, customs, values, and practices have been passed down over generations and have lasted the test of time. They've actually worked and been sustainable over a period of time. Tradition gives people belonging and meaning, and it connects individuals to their community and to their home and to their history. Progressivism, though, is inherently, obviously, in opposition to tradition, because they believe that in order to move forward, in order to be progressive, we need to destroy entrenched systems. We need to destroy tradition in order to move forward with our utopian ideals that are never grounded in reality. Notions such as human beings being born blank slates, that men and women are interchangeable widgets and don't have a specific function that is actually complementary in society. And also ideas such as moral and cultural relativism. And there are many more, and don't even get me started on the internal contradictions in their worldview. But the modern form of progressivism is just so unbelievably stupid. And it forces these people who call themselves progressives to have to defend these new ideas such as men can get pregnant, that any conservative is somehow a fascist or a neo-Nazi, that whiteness is some sort of a toxic ideology or some sort of an illness.
You agree or disagree with the following statement? It is okay to be white.
No, that's not okay. That's terrible to be white. To be white, that's awful.
Why is it not okay to be white?
Y'all have done too much. I would rather be, as a whole.
Too much good or too much bad?
Too much bad.
What should white people do about that?
Try not to be white.
So you just don't like white people as a whole?
No. Yeah, I am racist.
Are you serious? Or are you...
100%.
And that children should be able to attend drag shows where men are dressed as women doing sexual dances. And if you don't want to get kicked off the progressive team, then you have to support this, or at the very least, you can't condemn it. So this is where modern progressivism is at in the Western world. And the recent election where Donald Trump absolutely blew Kamala Harris out of the water was somewhat of a reckoning for these ideas. The fragile new house of cards that is modern progressivism came tumbling down, whilst the sturdy, age-old and wise rock face that is conservatism held strong. And here is the moment of reckoning for the subject of today's video, Cenk Uygur. But before we get into it, guys, if you don't mind smashing that like button on the way in, that would be amazing. If you get value from the channel, you can subscribe, and I would love to have you here. And also, don't forget to check out the reality-based store. On the topic of conservatism and tradition, we have got some of our counterculture merch. I would say that this is probably the most based merch on planet Earth right now. And there's never been a better time to wear merch that just screams tradition and to just say it with your chest. So anyways, all those links will be below, realitybasedstore.com. Let's get into some of the clips.
Okay, thank you very much. I do not have a question. I would rather have a comment as a member of the Parliament, European Parliament, who was called a fascist, Islamophobe. I was called all these names. And I'm happy that we have this moment of silence now, because I would like to remind you, these people are lecturing us about unity. So I would like to remind you again, they are talking and lecturing us about unity.
Cenk, go for it. Go ahead, Cenk.
Yeah, this brother isn't even American. So I don't know what the hell he's chanting USA for. I'll chant USA, not you, okay? And so, second of all, you're talking about losing with class when that bitch Donald Trump tried to steal an election, set to terminate the Constitution, or set off a riot, that he didn't mind if his vice president was murdered, bum rushed the Capitol, tried to destroy our democracy. He's the very worst in losing with no class at all. Here I am telling you that I think the Democratic Party did it wrong. I think they ran a wrong campaign. They're relying on the donors. They've got the wrong strategy. So we are honest about what goes wrong in the Democratic Party and what goes in the Republican Party. Are you guys honest about the fact that Donald Trump tried to steal an election? He's got no class at all.
Patrick, if I may, just one sentence.
Cenk, go for it.
Okay.
Dominic.
Guys, if I can ask you for another moment of silence.
Who the hell is this guy? Are you Viktor Orban's cousin?
Okay. Yes, I'd like to have a conversation. I would like to answer. You asked me why I am in US now. Because I was invited and I came here with my passport.
But now, guys, you see Cenk is trying to turn a new page, and he is trying to rebrand as somewhat of a moderate and join hands with the MAGA crowd and say, hey guys, we're all just populists. Let's check out his recent comments.
My left-wing friends don't understand. They think you guys are all MAGA, and MAGA means it's a cult, and you're never going to disagree with Trump. You're never going to disagree with each other, and that you are like their father's Republicans, but you're not their father's Republicans. And so our side, I've been trying to get them to realize that Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, all these folks that take the money, they're not on your side. They're on the establishment side, right? And guys, today, I think that, we could do something historic. I think that we could actually unite the left flank and the right flank. And I've got a model for how to do that, and I want to run it by you guys. Before, when I battled the right wing, it was a wall, right? I'm just like, nobody's listening to one another. They're just doing talking points. I hated it. And then MAGA looked like they were 100%. I'll be honest. I mean, in 2020, I was super pissed. And I said, look, I don't want to talk to Trump supporters. All I hear is the same thing. Trump, 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 Trump. And they never waver. So what I'm saying to the left now is, no, I'm seeing something new and different here. The MAGA base has changed. Okay, that doesn't mean they don't like Trump. It doesn't mean that they're not right wing. But there is a significant portion of the MAGA base now that is, in my opinion, right wing populists who are actually anti-establishment, actually anti-corruption, actually anti-war. And what I'm trying to tell the left is, take the win. Take the win. We've been standing opposed here for 20 years, trying to cut the Pentagon, trying to be anti-war, getting money out of politics. If people say yes, for God's sake, that's our lost tribe. Those are our right-wing brother and sisters who are Americans, who are populists, who agree with us. Let's go fight the establishment together, because if we're united, they cannot stop us.
So this is just a remarkable turnaround, guys. And let's get into a little bit more. Here was his comments from a year ago on the exact same podcast.
And this is what establishment media does not understand about Donald Trump. Yes, I think Hillary Clinton said two correct things in her life. One of them was the deplorable line that everybody hates. No, that's totally true. In my opinion, half the Republican base is deplorable. And I think they are racist, bigots, sexist, etc. We could talk half, easily half. Okay, but the other half,
that's 40 million people in America.
Absolutely,
You believe that?
100%. We could debate it.
So you think that 40 million Americans, half of the MAGA base, is all racist, sexist, misogynist, bigots, and whatever the hell other pejorative you want to call them. And then at some point it just sort of abruptly cuts off and the rest of them are just populists. Well, I mean, they're all MAGA, aren't they? Even the racists, the bigots, the sexists, and all of that, they're all MAGA. And MAGA is a populist movement. So wouldn't you be joining teams with those guys? And I think that Cenk is trying to play some sort of political 4D chess here, doesn't realize that he's just shooting himself in the foot and making himself look just completely duplicitous. Because when he says things like this, it allows him to talk out of both sides of his mouth, to talk to the progressives out of one side and to talk to the rest of the sane people out of the other side. He can do the unhinged rants, and then also he can sort of try and be a reasonable guy when he goes on PPD. And it just doesn't make sense, and people kind of see through this. I don't think that anybody with a brain would actually buy this. And we know how he really feels about conservatives, because occasionally he lets it slip.
And the right wing's like, yes, I love how they molest the little kids like that. Go get them, Boy Scouts. Go get them, priests. Please vote for our molesters and our pedophiles. Republicans say. Republicans, you're guilty, okay? And I'll tell you right now, the number one reason they constantly talk about pedophilia is because it's going through their heads. Non-stop, they're thinking about kids. I guarantee it. The reason Tim Pool wears a beanie is because he's trying to contain the pedophilia that's in his head. That's why he's always talking about it. He's seeing it everywhere. Why? Because he's projecting.
So there's only a couple of things in the Constitution right-wingers actually agree with. Me like guns. I hear guns in Constitution. Okay, there are other things like we shall not establish a religion. There should be no religious test for holding office. Me no like that part of Constitution. Okay, yeah, well then leave. You're un-American. You don't believe in the founding principle of this country. It's in the First Amendment. I know that comes as a shock to you. You thought the First Amendment was just so you could say racist things. No, there's other things in there.
Now, the following clip, guys, if you've been watching Rattlesnake TV for a while and watching the videos that I've done where I cover Cenk Uygur's meltdowns and all of his unhinged rants, then you'll understand when I say that the chutzpah that this man must possess, the sheer audacity to try and call out other people for having Trump derangement syndrome and to try and LARP as some sort of a reasonable human being is just completely beyond the pale. Let's check it out.
So Trump, when he does things and they take it out of context, I hate it, and I think that's Trump derangement syndrome. So, for example, he said bloodbath when he was talking about the auto industry. We come on the Young Turks and we go, he did not say it in a physical way. He did not say it in a violent way. He said it in regards to the car industry. No question about it. Yeah. Everyone else goes, nah, he's calling for blood in the streets and blah, blah, blah. That's Trump derangement syndrome. I agree. Right? He goes to McDonald's and he does that photo op. I think it's a great photo op, right? So, look, I'll bust him on, hey, he doesn't actually support higher minimum wage. He supports the National Restaurant Association, yada, yada. I'll give you the substance of it. But as a photo op, it's a good photo op. And they look at him, they're like, he looked ridiculous. And I'm like, all right, you can do that, but I don't think he looked ridiculous. I mean, the height of Trump derangement syndrome is when he got shot at, right? And then number one, we got Blue Anon that comes out and goes, no, he didn't really get shot at. It's all a conspiracy.
He had a razor in his hand or something.
Yeah, so... And then, and number two is, no, he wasn't heroic. Guys, he got shot at. He comes up and he goes, does this, and he goes, fight, fight, fight. If that's not courage, I don't know what courage is, right? So I called him courageous for that. And I called him courageous for that at a moment where I desperately wanted him to lose the election.
Okay, so just an almost unfathomable lack of shame by Cenk to try and call other people Trump deranged. Let's have a little listen to some of the things that he has said about the big, mean orange man.
Donald Trump loves democracy. Donald Trump's still the same monster he was yesterday.
Would you be surprised?
I'm not going to tell you that Donald Trump is a decent man
but Cenk,
when
why
he's
would
a
you
grotesque human being.
Cenk,
Piers, you're totally guilty. You're guilty. You're guilty. Because you support Donald Trump. And Donald Trump has done 2,000 times worse, and you know it. You won't even run it on this show.
Okay.
You won't even run it on this show because Donald Trump, what he says is so much worse than anything a Democrat has ever said about him. So you won't even run it on this show. So that's it. Are you telling Donald Trump, you better shut up?
You better not say any of those gross things that you always say. You know that he joked about smashing Nancy Pelosi's husband's head in with a hammer.
And the truth
One
is,
of his
Cenk,
lunatic fans tried to murder Nancy Pelosi's husband,
Cenk,
and he's like, it's so funny.
Here's
Do
the
you
problem.
know that when they try to murder his vice president,
Here's the problem,
he then
Cenk.
turned around and said he deserved it.
Here's the problem.
He's a psycho,
Here's
and
the
you defend
problem.
him every day,
Here's
Piers.
They laid out a plan for a full-blown coup against this country. And then they executed that plan. And they even considered, they had a 3-hour meeting where Michael Flynn proposed martial law and rolling out tanks against the American people and killing anyone who opposed us. And the only reason why they didn't do that part of it, because to be fair to the rest of the people in the Trump administration at the time, they said to Trump, every one of us will resign if you roll out those tanks. He wanted to do it. He wanted to do it. He's a dictator. He's a fascist. That's not hyperbole. The only fascist that is an actual threat to democracy is Donald J. Trump. He already tried to end this democracy once. And guys, last thing. The other day, he said, immigrants are poisoning the blood of our nation. That quote has only been used by Adolf Hitler and Donald J. Trump. So he's telling you ahead of time, I'm a Nazi. It's not like I didn't warn you. I used absurd Hitler quotes. I pulled them out of history and I said them for no reason, just to let you know I am a Nazi.
Notion of a fascist. Because look, if we're just gonna use fascist toward anyone we dislike, all right, then the word doesn't actually mean anything.
Okay, what do you want me to say, Anna? You want me to say wannabe dictator?
Sure, you can say wannabe dictator, but I don't even think he wants to be a dictator.
Of course he does. That's what you do when you lose an election and you go, oh, I got fake electors and I'd like to terminate the Constitution and bring out the tanks and use martial law against American citizens and shoot protesters. I mean, if that's not fascist, then I guess the word just shouldn't exist.
Please, Cenk, enlighten us more about your diagnoses of Trump derangement syndrome and how to know when you see it, and also how you managed to go against the grain and just rise above it. Plus, yeah, I mean, you were okay when he got shot with some of your tweets, we'll give you that, but we won't forget your initial reaction.
Hey guys, Trump's been shot. When he got up, he was bleeding from the ear, but he seemed perfectly fine. He's not dead. He's fine. Like, my best guess, and this is just a guess because he was just shot, is that he was, it looked like a BB gun or something.
A BB gun. Yeah, okay, Cenk. So with all of that rhetoric in mind, let's now have a look at one of Cenk's recent tweets. I've been trying to figure out why I'm more optimistic now than I was before the election, even though I was so against the guy who won. I know now. MAGA is not my mortal enemy, and neither is the extreme left. My mortal enemy is the establishment, and they have been defeated. Whoa, 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 Cenk. How can you possibly side with these people? Are you saying that Trump is some sort of anti-establishment figure that's actually a real populist leader? And are you saying that the MAGA movement is inherently anti-establishment and that's actually kind of based? I mean, where could you possibly have got that idea? I would never have noticed. But you were really saying, Cenk, that he is some sort of a fascist and a monster. And just from my purview, if I thought that there was going to be a leader coming to power who was going to bring about a communist revolution, and that as soon as this leader took office, they were going to march their Red Army into Washington, D.C. and implement tyranny, then I probably wouldn't be looking to extend an olive branch unless this is some sort of fear from Cenk, unless he's just so scared that the fascist orange man has taken power that he now fears for his own life and has to pretend that he's on our side. Maybe all of this is just the final boss of Trump derangement syndrome. But anyway, I doubt that, guys. I think that there is two logical explanations for all of this. The first of which being that he is just a terrible political analyst, and that actually everything that he said over the past 4 years ago in regards to Donald Trump has just been completely and utterly wrong. And second of all is that he's just a liar and he's just been fear-mongering and lying through his teeth this whole time. Or both, actually. I think that actually might be the most likely. And last point, I mean, we also saw in the run-up to the election that Cenk tried to act like he was being all moderate with the trans issue. And not because this is what he believes. I mean, who knows what he actually believes, if anything. he was only moderate on this because he saw that this trans issue was absolutely hemorrhaging votes for the Democratic Party. And with normal, sane people, it's just wildly, wildly unpopular. Because, I mean, let's just face it, you do have to be mentally unwell to think that men should be able to compete in women's sports, and also that men should be in women's bathrooms and women's changing rooms, or to think that men can get pregnant. That is an unwell stance to take. And we know that Cenk is lying about this and that he's flip-flopped on this issue like no tomorrow, because it wasn't so long ago that he was imploring trans people to go out and buy guns and defend yourself against the big mean conservatives who want to pass all these laws against you.
I'll be a little bit of a hypocrite here, but it's not. I'll explain why I'm saying it. I don't like guns. I would ban assault weapons in a second. We can go on and on about the gun control that we need in this country. And I always tell people, don't get guns. It'll make you less safe. I'm going to make an exception here for trans people. They are actually in danger. They have had hundreds of laws passed against them. They have right-wing media ginning up fear against them 24/7. They are targeted more than any other group in America. And if anyone should get guns, it should be trans Americans, okay? Because I'm worried for them. I'm worried that the right-wing lunatics are going to attack them as they have over and over again. And by the way, it's not just right-wing lunatics. Other people attack trans folks as well.
I mean, what laws is he talking about there? What are these oppressive, tyrannical laws that have been passed against trans people? I mean, probably laws that are super popular with normal people, and probably the exact sort of stances that you're now flip-flopping on. So no, not buying it one little bit. As soon as the next current thing pops up, he'll just jump on the bandwagon and he'll be shitting on conservatives again and MAGA people again as soon as he gets the chance. As soon as he feels like the political or cultural wind starts to blow in his direction, he will be off that train and onto the next thing. But this should just make us more confident that we are absolutely on the right side of history with these issues, because there is not a conceivable moment that would ever occur where I would say, hey, you know what, guys? Let's pull back on the whole, not letting kids to drag shows thing. Let's pull back on the whole men can't get pregnant thing. I think it's going to lose us a few voters. No, because tradition and conservatism is rooted in wisdom. We don't lick our finger in the morning, find out which way the wind is blowing and go in that direction. We have actual principles and virtues that are grounded in reality. So guys, enough ranting from me today. If you guys want to see the reality-based store, you can even get your Many Men shirt, your Trump shirt, and all of the base designs. That's going to be right below there. If you haven't liked the video and want to subscribe to the channel, both of those things would be greatly appreciated. And also, if you'd like to watch another one, right here. Till next time, I'm Jake. This is RattlesnakeTV, keeping you armed and dangerous.